Our episode guest is Daria Shinkarova, the absolute champion of Ukrainian bodybuilding, prize winner of the Arnold Classic competition, winner of the bodybuilding competition in Miami, as well as wife and the mother. Hello, Alina. Thank you for inviting me to such a wonderful podcast. Thank you for joining us. It is such a pleasure having an absolute champion like you here in our episode. You have so many achievements. Meeting you, it's a great honor for us. Thank you for that. I actually wanted to tell you how gorgeous you are. You look amazing. I'm pretty sure when someone sees you, they're impressed. You have a beautiful smile. Oh, thank you. And it's very interesting that you're engaged in professional bodybuilding, aka fitness bikini, as I understand it. Because many people go to the gym, but only some choose this direction to do it professionally, to achieve the success, and to participate in competitions. So, could you please tell us when and how did you decide to become a bodybuilder? Did someone inspire you? Please share your story with us. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Thanks for asking. So, it all started in 2018. I was subscribed to a lot of fitness bikini bloggers at the time, and I was just going to the gym. I didn't understand anything. And there was a moment when I decided that I want to lose some weight, and I was 18 years old, and I just went to the gym because if you want to lose weight, what do? That's right, you just go to the gym. I didn't understand anything about nutrition. I was subscribed to many fitness bikini bloggers, but at that time I didn't understand why I needed this. Probably was just some kind of motivation for me. So I just looked at the picture, I liked the picture, but I certainly didn't plan to perform. I had religious beliefs and also all sorts of insecurities. And if at that time someone told me that I was gonna go to the stage in a beautiful swimsuit, well, I would think they're crazy. Honestly, I was really afraid. I was scared and I couldn't admit that, so I was just making excuses like, no, that's a sin or anything else. At the same time, I was learning information about nutrition, and my husband, well, back then he wasn't my husband, he was just a friend, he actually introduced me to the world of bodybuilding. He was the one who was performing, and I attended his competitions. I was helping him to prepare, and I was always there at all his competitions. Someone even asked me, Dasha, when are you gonna be on the stage? And I was like, no, I can't, that's impossible. By the way, me and my husband, we met in a gym. We are both the religious people, and we didn't meet at a church, but at the gym on a neutral territory. We have the same religion, we believe in the same God, and we just understand each other. It's like we're on the same page. And I remember at that time he was very handsome and cool, he was a bodybuilder, and I, compared to him, was a complete beginner. I didn't understand anything that had to be done. I did only one exercise, which was a hyperextension, and I remember raising my head, and he comes up to me and says, listen, by the way, I wanted to ask you, why are you always doing just one exercise? And I was like, please leave me alone. Because he was a pro and he was super handsome, and here was I doing hyperextension and cardio only. We were communicating a lot, and I started going to the gym regularly. I was learning lots of information from YouTube, and we were kind of in the same rhythm. So basically, you're on the same page, and he also inspired you to be a bodybuilder, right? Yes, so I was familiar with it, but I always refused to participate there. At the same time, this person, he showed me that you can be a bodybuilder and a religious person. At some point after our marriage, I said, listen, I want to try. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's very interesting for me. And he was like, yeah, I can help you. Let's prepare you. And while I was preparing was my first dry out, I quickly understood that this whole concept is not about beauty and the swimsuit, because this is the final result only. It's more about your personal development. Before all this journey, I was extremely insecure. And my husband, Tolik, He was an opposite. He was extremely open. He thought of himself being a king of this world, and if he wanted something, he just did it. I was shocked by that, and honestly, it just helped me to open up. So, before I went on stage for the first time, I went through this preparation path, which was extremely hard. I was on a certain diet, it was very difficult, and I had a hard discipline to maintain. So let's say I'm at a birthday party and everybody comes and eats the cake, and I come with a little bowl and realize that I can't even, I don't know, breathe near this cake or anything else. This is it, you can't even eat more fish or chicken than it's in your proportions. And if you eat more, then you'll do worse for yourself because this will affect your result. I was a completely new person because discipline changes you. It changes a lot and it influences all areas of your life. And it's a big bonus, really. When I was on a stage, I thought, wow, I did it. Well, this whole experience opened me up and helped me to become confident. And that's about the beauty. It's not about just standing on the stage and being vulgar or anything else. It's a beauty contest where you can show your feminine side. But in the same time, you didn't even drink that day. For 4 days, you were cutting down your water and you cut down the carbs completely. You didn't have any sugar for 3 months already. And you can't complain because there are 30, 50, 100 girls who are just like you. They fought the same way, and you have to prove yourself to be the number one. It's not easy at all, and as a plus, you have to hold all these positions. That is, as I understood you, that participation in competition in this sport is not just about going out to show off what you're doing and that you have a beautiful body there, and so on. But in fact, when you go on a stage, you come out as a new person with a complete new personality who has gone through a huge path of devoting work to discipline your body, your soul, your food, and everything else that is here. That is, you are constantly working on evolving as a person, working on all of your insecurities by going on stage like that. That's why always behind a beautiful body, there is a huge personality. Yes, so this sport is really hard, and Tolik, my husband, he completely supports me in this. He is super proud of me. He flies to all of the competitions with me all the time. Everything I need is here, and he always says, please do it. You can practice the full dedication in here. This is 100% you, and he just sees it. He's an athlete and he sees everything as a champion. It's a very difficult sport, and some people they just underestimate it. And it's really hard to go out and prove yourself. At some point of my life, I just realized something. I come from a religious family, a religious church, and there are lots of attitudes, lots of beliefs that were imposed on me and they weren't even mine. So when I began to go out into the world when I was about 18 years old, I understood that somewhere was something that I couldn't release and it wasn't sitting inside of me, and I cannot even say about it. Because I was shy, I was afraid, I didn't have enough knowledge, not enough beauty, not enough everything, lots of things. Why does it have to be this way? Well, probably because everywhere people love to control and control. My point is that the church has to reveal your personality. It has to reveal you, absolutely support you, and push you into this world. Because you're gonna live in this world, and this world doesn't want you to be no one. It wants you to be opened up and shine in it. I am not interested in proving anything to believers. I have a large circle of friends in different countries, super beautiful women and extremely handsome men too. They're athletes, billionaires, millionaires, super interesting personalities. And I understand that they don't know anything about God at all. That is, they know that there is a church, there is an icon, a candle, but this is a religion, and religion and God have nothing in common with each other. And when you start talking about this, that this is a religion, that you can't kiss icons, that you can't worship some kind of mother of God or something else because it's written in the Bible, because I am the God of the living and not the dead. And I'm not in the temples of man-made hands. I am alive. Why do you want to create boundaries for me? So I communicate with lots of women who I teach about God, who doesn't know anything about it. There are many women who are engaged in escorts. Yes, they open up to me about it. Also, we can call it prostitution. So those girls who can sleep with someone for Hermes bag, right? And I can tell about this because this is our world. There is a church, and when you turn around, this is our world. And it needs God. And I understand that I have to go in this direction. Whenever I have a competition, I invite girls, bloggers to come and they say that I'm married. I have a happy marriage. I have a child. I actually do something on the stage out there. I have everything in life and I have a great car, a good house. I'm well off. And when they ask, how did you do it? You didn't have any intrigue, scandals, abusive relationship, cheating, and everything with you like this. So, what is it? Then I tell them, yes, it is possible if you give your life to Christ. I tell them Calvary, I tell them about the blood of Jesus Christ. We start praying, the girls are really crying, they accept Christ. It's much more interesting for me to go there than to prove something to someone. About that time, I met Tolik, my husband, and we found a church. It was a charismatic one. The first thing I told, oh my God, what this is? Why is everyone singing? Why it's so loudly and noisy? What kind of disco this is? This is not how Christians should act. These were my beliefs. I was a young girl, 18 years old, and I didn't understand anything. But I was already coming into this world with such condemnation. Like, girl, you don't even know anything. Why are you already judging someone? So it was imposed on me already. After a fasting, I came to a church. There was a pastor, Arman, from Kazakhstan. And after my first time there, he comes to me and says, hello, my name is Arman. And I was shocked by this fact because he was a pastor and he came to me to say hello. I was impressed that he noticed me and he was very down to earth. He asked me how I was and I didn't even know what to tell him. I didn't know the right way to talk to a pastor. He was very down to earth and he just told me that it's great that I came to the church. And I was impressed that he was treating me like we were equals. I started coming to the church often, and everything that Armand told people at the church, it was incredible. There were lots of people who were my age, and if there was someone who were older us, they had low income and they took bus or metro and they came to the church to listen about these aspects of great spirituality. And he had already traveled to America, he had a car, an apartment, he was a businessman, and he talked about it from the point of view of Christianity. And that we can do it for ourselves and it's so possible. We were just shocked. Wow. So that means that a Christian can live in this world and live very successfully. So you can be rich and Christianity equals wealth does not equal sin. And it's all good for you. God is not against you. On the contrary, He wants to give you even more than you have. And then I started reading the Bible from a completely different angle. I realized that this is a really priceless book. There is so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and I just began to absorb all of this information and write down everything. Me and Tolik, we were reading it together. Then we started to apply everything to our lives, and this is priceless. So this pastor, he really invested in us, and he didn't even ask for anything in return. God truly put him in charge, and he did his job. Then there was another pastor, but Arman completed his mission 100%. He changed my life fundamentally. I understood what is a destiny and what is a purpose. I understood what the blood of Jesus Christ is. I understood what is grace, why is it needed, and why God does not condemn you. He is a loving dad for you, and He will not give you a rock instead of a bread. And I realized, stop, it was all in my head only. Why did I do anything that was opposite? So when I and Talik were spending time together, we were talking about God. I was telling him what I read in the Bible, he was telling me the same. I was telling him what I wrote down. And this was the basis of our relationship. Many people ask me, how do we build a healthy relationship? And I tell them that we did not start it from sleeping with each other. In fact, we got intimate only after our marriage. And Tolik understood it. He was supporting me in this point. Alright, so as I understand it, you were saving yourself until marriage. That is, you had such a principle. And it's so fascinating that people from the outside, they were judging you both for the fact that you're bodybuilders and your swimsuits. Well, no, many Christian people think so, but people who are outside the Christianity, they actually admire it. Yeah, so whenever there is a couch potato who can judge you by your swimsuits, and they don't even know that you and your husband, you had a spiritual meeting, you've done lots of spiritual work, disclosure, and you saved yourself before your marriage, and how you follow God's and biblical values. It's simply admirable. So please tell us, did you have some kind of specific turning point, the one that brought you to God? We see that you've gone through a huge transformation after you visited this new church. So was there any specific moment when you met God? Well, most likely, I always felt that there was a calling for me, that I was special 100%. I just had it somewhere, but I couldn't show it because my religion wouldn't support it at that time. So I was going to the church and I just understood that I would not be going to this church all my life. I was drawn into the world, I was drawn into something else in school, but at the same time, there was some kind of a fear of God. So I was here and there and I couldn't figure it out. It was like insanely difficult because, yes, you're a teenager and you can do certain things, but you don't understand why not. Why is it a sin? Why is it bad? So you only understand hell, devil, and sin. And when I started reading books myself, developing myself, and investing in myself, I read some book, I can't remember its name, but it was written that don't give such a big meaning to the devil because it cannot do anything to you. It already lost. It's on fire already. So that is enough to study what a sin is. And when I started studying calorie, I understood how wonderful it is what Jesus did. This crucifixion was for me and it was for you, and that 2000 years ago everything was taken away already. There are many people who are standing on nails. That's a popular practice nowadays. And when I asking those people who are doing these practices, why are you doing this? They say, I'm living through the pain that was in the past or the pain that will be in the future that I'm afraid of. And they do it to get some kind of liberation. But how long does this liberation last? So you stand on the nails, you live through this pain, and then you get this pain again. So why would you do that? Jesus Christ has already taken it all away. He sorted out absolutely everything off the board. Disappointment, pain, illness, everything. Everything you can imagine. He already sacrificed himself. He died and then rose again and gave you his grace. And when his blood dropped, it fell on me, on you, on everyone who is in this room and in this world. And when you accept this, you will open the door for him. It's even written like that. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hear my voice and opens the door, I will come in and dine with him, and he with me. He's like a gentleman. He won't break into your apartment or your soul like a religion does. Oh, you have to do this and that, but you cannot sin ever. He is a gentleman. He's like a dad. He loves you, he holds your right hand, and he's all-encompassing. He's behind and he's in front. He's everywhere. He exists literally everywhere. He covers absolutely everything. And the moment that I started to fall in love with him, my sins all just disappeared. My focus was on the dedication and stopped thinking about the sins. And then after 6 months later, I realized that I just didn't do anything. So because of your love and dedication to Jesus, your sins, they just go away, and they realize that when you spend more time with Him and focus more on Him, the other factors, they just disappear. You fall in love with Him every day, and it's impossible to understand Him fully. That's never enough. You crave for this connection every day, and every day it's gonna open up for you in a different way. And there are different seasons for each and one of you. Sometimes you're gonna be empty and you'll have droughts, but then you will go out and you will harvest, and your journey will continue every day. And when I put Him in the first place, when I just started to fall in love with Him, my life changed. A lot of things were discarded, some moments were thrown away. Some moments are just clear to me. God gives you wisdom, and I believe in the supernatural wisdom. When you do understand that you don't need to do some things because it will lead to the certain results. Many people just make some actions and I don't understand why. Why did you do this? Because it's pretty clear that if you do that, this will lead you to a certain circumstances. So what did you expect to happen? So God simply gives you supernatural wisdom on how to act and how to speak. In our church, there is a series of sermons about marriage, what it's like to be in a marriage. And everyone is given some situations, something will happen in life because, well, there are two people, two personalities begin to live together. So there are going to be some difficulties. But these difficulties can be easily solved if God gives you the wisdom. And if you accept it, then you don't remain grumpy and start doing the right thing by focusing on yourself. I knew there was something in me. It was burning strongly. And I didn't release it until I realized that I need to do the right thing. I felt like I need to do sports and be on stage. I did not just feel it, I heard it from God. Many people were asking me, is this coming from God? Is this the right thing to do? And I had a clear answer from Him. Yes, Dasha, you're doing everything right, and you're doing everything that I want you to do, and I sent you and destined you, and through you, they will repent. These are my children. These are the same beloved children as you are, and they will see you, and I'll talk to them through you. Okay, so right now you're talking about how God led you and how your personality was revealed by sports. And I really can see that how God really chose you for that world of sports, bodybuilding. It's a rare sport for Christians, but God took care of those people from the world of bodybuilding so that they too would be saved, so that they too would know the truth. You know how sometimes pastors go to the jungles and they just teach everyone about God. So the world of bodybuilders, this is like your kind of jungle, roughly speaking. It all depends on what your intention is. So there is a girl who wants to show how beautiful she is in front of all men, and she already has such thoughts, and this is her intention. That is a problem. That's her problem. So my intention is to take that moment to shine. I do it only for myself, and I enjoy this whole process. Yes, this is a difficult path that I went through, and I go out and I show my result, and through this I open a large audience through myself because people want to listen to me. People want to see a successful picture plus an athletic body. It's really attractive. It's really something that catches attention. And many religious women who gave birth once or several times, they come up to me and they're asking how to get back in shape, especially after pregnancy. When I tell them that it's been only a month after I gave the birth and I'm in the gym already, they're shocked. Yes, they're looking at me, they are writing me on Instagram. Many girls are actually religious, women who are already married, who go to conservative churches, and they're still interested. They're interested because people will always be interested in bright and unusual personality. And this is how I realized that I want to shine and speak. Tell us, do you have some life hacks in general? How to get into the world of sports? Because many people want to lose weight, but they still won't start. Yes. I think that they're afraid. Basically, they just need to go to the gym. Well, everyone started somewhere, and many people are just so embarrassed to even start. Speaking about limits and insecurities again. Many people are afraid of what others could think of them, but in fact, no one will look at you. No one even thinks of you. Everyone thinks about themselves only. Everyone is focused on themselves, on their result, and they want to achieve their goals. You do not need to think for others what's in their mind. You'll never understand what they will think about it and if they will think about you. And when you do that, you make everything difficult for yourself already. So you lost already and you haven't even started yet. So it's better to have a coach, of course, but you always can open up a YouTube channel and it has everything. Before competitions or at them, do you have some kind of prayer? Maybe you're fasting before them or anything else? And when you win, are you sure that it was God's help? When you ask me this question, I instantly remember this line. It says, "The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord." Okay, you told the answer right away. Well, I learned lots of biographies, reread them, and one of them was Oprah Winfrey's. Many people know her story, but I'm gonna tell it briefly. So, she came from a poor family and she created her capital from scratch, and now she has like $3 billion, if I'm not mistaken. She went through a certain path. She read a lot, she studied a lot until she was 20 years old. She was giving speech at schools, spent a lot of time in front of the camera. She was on the radio, and at the age of 20, she was offered to give speech on the radio, and it was such a huge project because that created effect on either many states or the whole United States country. And the thing is that she was ready for it. She was preparing for it for a long time. Yes, God gave her the place and location, thus she prepared the horse, but God gave the victory. If she spent all her time without reading, without studying or developing skills, it's unlikely that she would have been able to perform like that. She might not have conveyed her idea correctly. She could have said something wrong and no one would notice that. But luckily for us, she was ready, she was noticed, and she became who she is right now. So I believe that everyday discipline, it gives me lots of things. It prepares me for something bigger and greater. You cannot succeed if you cannot discipline yourself. So you go exercising, reading, study English, study with your child, go to bed, again and again the same routine. So I wake up at 6 in the morning, I'm doing some cardio for an hour, then I come home and cook breakfast for my child. I get her ready for the daycare, then she leaves, then I have time for myself. I prepare a healthy breakfast for myself, then I take care for myself because it's very important. It's like a big part of every woman's life. We have to always invest in ourselves. I have a young husband who sees me every day, and this is important. God, He is interested in you being versatile in absolutely everything. Then I eat and listen to sermon. Well, I pray all the time. It's like a constant dialogue inside of my mind, and I do it everywhere, even in the car. And that's very important to do the same thing every day, because I know these same things will one day lead me to something very big and great. Because if I wake up late or spend much time on Instagram or TikTok, I won't achieve anything. I know that you had lots of victories, but were there any losses? And if there were any, how did you deal with them? Sure, when I just started performing, I was getting last positions. And in this sport, you clearly understand what could have been better. There are many factors. This is such a meticulous work on the body. You sharpen it exactly like a sculptor. You sharpen it You, let's say, want to add shoulders, let's say the delta muscles in the front and the back. You also have to take care of the glutes. Maybe there wasn't enough time for you to dry out, or you didn't have much time to lose weight somewhere. Well, there are lots of factors why you cannot be on the first place. I remember when it was my first time being on a stage, I was so scared and nervous, and of course, everybody could see that. Everybody senses your insecurity, and of course, everything doesn't go as it should be. But this is a great experience, and no matter what, you have to go out and you should try doing better and better. And what did you feel in these moments? Did you want to give up? And did you want to say, I can't do it anymore? Or did these losses motivated you? For sure, they motivated me to do more and more, to be better and better. And when you analyze this, do you think of it as your responsibility, or you think that God didn't help you? Because sometimes people, they loosen something and they blame God. Have you ever had those feelings? Many religious and not religious people love to ask this question. And I have this example. Let's say you and I were just sitting together, we communicate with each other, and you think of me as a normal person and everything is fine, but I can just get up and start saying something mean to you. Then we'll have an argument, I'll leave, and we'll never meet again. So it was a specific action that I made. I did it consciously, and I just did that and left. God has nothing to do with it. It was just a human action. God always gives us a choice. Therefore, everything that happens in our lives, let's say something evil, it's all because people do it by their choice. Because of hate, angriness, and there are many more factors why we do this. And this is 100%. So you're telling that there is some kind of connection that led you to a certain situation. Yes, God always wants what's best for you, and everything else is just your choice. So the way you live, this is your conscious choice. It's also your choice of where you live, with whom you live, what are you doing. And God didn't do anything. He gave you the freedom, He gave you the opportunities, and this is how you prepared your horse. He always wants you to succeed. He always tells you, let's do it. If you want it, let's do it. Even in nature shows us that everyone works. Everyone gets up early and start taking actions. And these actions, they lead to a result. What is the best advice you've ever received? Yeah, there is one. So, it was a bad day. It's not always like it, but it happens because we are human beings. And in that day, everything goes wrong and you're very upset. And at this particular day, you want to quit. You want to give up everything and just go and don't do anything. That day, you want to say, okay, I lost and I'm a nobody. And in that moment, someone just told me, listen, this is just a bad day. It doesn't mean that you lost, and you could just go and rest, and that's okay. Sometimes there are moments when you're not depressed, but rather languishing. And there is a proverb for that. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. And this proverb is very inspiring, and I think about it all the time in the last couple of days. It's very much about that there is something inside of you and you don't release it, then your heart really languishes and your mental state, it just can lead to a depression. Why? Because you didn't release what was inside of you initially. So if there is anything that languishes your heart, you want to say something, do something, go somewhere, create a business maybe, and you don't do it, it makes you depressed. Even I have such moments where I understand, okay, this is my calling, I have to do it, but in my everyday life, there are so many things, there is a particular routine that just very time consuming and I don't do it. Instead, I do things that I wasn't even born for, I wasn't even called at all. And it's very difficult to gather yourself in such moments and do what you're supposed to do. Well, it could be sports, business, whatever your calling is. And it's not bad, it's good actually. We believers should be able to live in this world fully, and it would be great if someone actually taught us about this and showed in churches that religious people are not frightened or shy. We're not stuck. On the contrary, we have power. We have this world. We are created in the image and likeness of God. Become as those who have power, and we can say this word and say it to non-believers because, well, they're actually the ones in position of loss, not us. Many people think so. Well, how can I say this and that? How will I offend someone? Well, don't be afraid to speak up about something that's not sacred. Don't take responsibility for their feelings. They'll get through it. I would really want that religious people were taught by someone to believe in themselves more, to take initiatives, to have more of this assertiveness. Don't be afraid to go out into this world and say whatever you need to say. That's actually really great when people are so interested in cultivating personality, who has their own opinion, who can defend their position, who can say and declare who they are. And the last question is, are there some future competitions that you're preparing for? What are your plans? Yes, so right now I'd like to start competing in America in another federation, but these are just the plans for me. But most likely in just a month, I'm gonna start preparing again and perform again towards the new achievements. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you. You inspired me, and I think many people who just watch this podcast, many people who are seeing this podcast and are hearing it, they'll probably be leaving many comments, and they'll be the positive ones. Someone will be inspired and live and shine, reveal their personality, and live with God, always in harmony. Yes, 100%. We're in privilege. We're sons and daughters of God. So just live with His power, read the Bible. Everything is written there and everything is clear. Thank you so much.